All right, interview of Mike Palmer, owner of Premier Pet Supply by Jesse Roberts. The date is 5/27/2021. Beverly Hills, Michigan. We're at Premier Pet Supply.
Ready.
Okay, so the first question is, what is your family's background in business?
So my grandfather was a merchant himself. He came here from Iraq in the late 1940s. His brother came here before him and established themselves and was able to save enough money for them to open up a business in a neighborhood in Detroit off Hamilton. It was not far from Olympia Stadium. So my grandfather kind of was the start and inspiration of being a part of retail in general. Had a great neighborhood market, very well known, and just a good community leader as well.
What kind of business was it?
It was a general merchandise market. You know, you had a meat counter, groceries. It was a small store though, maybe just about 1,500 square feet.
Okay. So Ray, your uncle, started Premier Pet Supply. Why did he decide to start Premier Pet Supply?
So at the time, my Uncle Ray started Premier Pet Supply back in 1992. He came from a grocery background as well. Him and his brothers had stores, and he had sold their last store and was left with trying to figure out what he was going to do. And having a pet himself, he recognized, like many people who started in the pet industry, that there wasn't a lot of great options for pet supplies for his animal, and he researched the business. Pet Supplies Plus at the time, it started out of Redford, Michigan, had 6 stores, so it wasn't really a common thing to have large scale specifically for pets type stores. So he really took a shot in the dark with this concept and opened up the store. But basically the reason was because he found it very difficult to find a great selection of products for his own pet.
Okay.
So it was out of necessity.
Got it. Why did he pick this location?
That's interesting. I asked him, and if you look at the spot at 13 Mile and Southfield on the map in Metro Detroit, you wouldn't think it would be the most perfect location for a pet supply store or any business in general, because there's not a ton in relation to like a Telegraph Road or a Woodward or any other mile road. There's not a lot of car traffic, but I think its central location to many cities that surround us here was what attracted him to this corner.
Do you remember when it first opened?
I do, yeah.
And what it was like here? Was it busy?
It was not. No, the space was originally a drugstore and pharmacy. The fish room was that we built in here. We put in the pharmacy area. We needed 2 employees to open the store, and that was about it throughout the rest of the day. 2 employees to close the store.
Okay.
It took a while for it to pick up, but gradually it did.
Okay. When did you start working here?
In '94, 2 years after the store had opened, the summer after I graduated high school.
What was it like when you were working here at the beginning?
Similar. We made 2 or 3 employees throughout the entire day is all it took to run the business. Not very many transactions, less than 100 a day. But it was a business that I kind of recognized was one that was unique, and that people appreciated that we actually had a store specifically geared towards their pets.
Right. When did you realize you wanted to take this over?
So that's interesting. So I knew I wanted to own my own business, but I didn't think it would be this business.
Right.
I had pets growing up, but not many, because my mom didn't like having a dog or a cat in the house very much. So I started. It really probably clicked a couple years after working here. I really recognized how great a business it was because of how much people appreciated shopping here, because they love their pets so much as part of their family.
For sure.
So it was a really great atmosphere, and that to me, that's when it started to click.
Okay. So when you decided to take it over, did you notice something was missing from the business that you can make it more successful?
Yeah, I recognize that if we were going to be able to, outpace the competition, the more corporate stores, we were going to have to get into more specialty products, more unique products, things, options that were more natural and holistic. And that's something that we didn't have, and the big guys in the grocery stores absolutely did not have either.
So what was the first holistic brand you brought in? Do you remember?
I do, yeah, because there was not one food that was highly distributed through major distribution. So Solid Gold and California Natural were the two foods, and I actually had to drive to Farmington Hills and buy them out of a gentleman's garage.
Really?
Because he was the local distributor for those foods.
Yeah. Where were they based out of?
California.
California.
Yeah, with both of them.
Both of them? Okay. Let's see. So, around when did you guys start transitioning to the more holistic stuff? Right away when you took over?
No, it was probably actually a couple years later. I would say it was in the late 90s, probably around 98, 99.
What were the products like you guys were carrying at first?
More of the grocery type brands. The I guess mass is what they call it. You find them in all the grocery stores. So we carried products like Bench and Field,
Purina,
Joy dog food was one.
Yeah.
Some of those old school ones, a lot of them don't even exist anymore.
When did you take over the business? When did you start taking it over, I guess?
When I was 21, so 3 years after I started. My uncle started
97?
So 97, yeah.
Okay. So how did that conversation go?
It really wasn't one. So what was interesting is my Uncle Ray, coming from a grocery background and more of that old school grocer mentality, he knew to provide three things in his mind to create a successful business, and it was a clean, well-lit, and fully stocked store. And aside from that, what he lacked was the customer interaction. He wasn't the most personal guy, a little rough around the edges, really gruff.
Right.
And so I felt that he wasn't an ideal individual to grow the business, and I, in the most considerate way, just took on more and more of his responsibility, which kind of pushed him out of here. And I just told him I wanted to take on the responsibility so he wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Without him recognizing or realizing it, I was just running the store and doing everything for him, and he was fine with that.
Okay. Let's see. So, I don't know if you know, Oakland County has more pet stores than any other county in Michigan by a long shot.
Okay.
How do you think you guys have been able to stand out in that competition?
So in general, it's a number of things. I think first and foremost, it's our people. We truly hire people that care and not necessarily are just here for the paycheck. Yeah. They're compassionate about animals. They're interested in nutrition, and so they're also do a really good job of educating themselves. So our service is knowledge based. In addition to just to being in general good customer service, we actually have answers to the questions. So people come to us as a resource for information, which I think really separates us.
Okay. Let's see here. Have you recognized the amount of change in pet businesses in the area? Have you had a lot come and gone over the years?
Yeah, and I think they say competition is in some respects good. There was a group of stores out of Columbus, Ohio called Pet People, as you know, and they came into the area. Very good looking stores, a nice product mix. They educated staff, and I think that's really when things started to turn for me, and I had to kind of recognize that we had to step up our game if we were gonna make our mark.
Okay. All right, so this is an ever-changing industry, so it's growing at a rapid pace. I know from working in it as well. How do you discern on what you carry?
So in the beginning, what we used to do is we just get requests from customers,
Okay.
And the more and more requests and more special orders we were doing on a product line or a product in general, then it would be easy for us to say, we might as well just carry this product.
Right.
What we've also done is we go to trade shows, we talk to sales reps, we really try to learn as much as we can about innovative products and the new products that are coming out, so that we can stay ahead of the curve and, ahead of the trends. And a lot of that has shown that.
You want to put that on hold? I can pause it.
Yeah, if you can.
You've helped me out by carrying my products in the store. I know a lot of the stuff you carry is from local businesses or local companies. How do you decide which local companies to carry? Do you get inundated with requests?
We do. Being an entrepreneur, I have to be supportive of other entrepreneurs. So to be very honest with you, I mean, it's pretty easy if there's a local group or a local company or a local person that's making a product in the area.
Yeah.
We typically will just give it a shot and then see how it goes. And we'll be very honest and upfront with them that we're going to do that. And if it's something that just doesn't work out, then, we gave it its fair shake.
Right.
I think we have to be supportive of local businesses. I mean, everyone's got to get their start somewhere, and being a local business ourselves, one of the other things that helps separate us from the others is that we do carry local products and we do support local businesses.
Yeah, for sure. So, you're very active in social media, and you do the news, your news product showing and stuff like that. How did you manage to get into that to begin with?
I think I'm really lucky and fortunate for the area that we're in. We've had quite a few customers that are in local media, and a lot of news anchors on both TV and radio.
Okay.
And, it's just, in life it's just about networking, right?
Yeah.
And just getting in front of them and, getting, tugging at their ear and throwing some ideas their way and befriending them and earning their trust and get your foot in the door. And it took a while, but eventually doing that, and then it kind of snowballs from there.
Right. So, like, if somebody was starting a small business now, how much of their time do you think they should put into that kind of stuff, into marketing, like social media marketing and things like that? So,
as far as that goes, I've been told from many years past that when it comes to marketing and advertising, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're damned if you do because it's so expensive and you can't guarantee that everything that you're going to do is going to be a home run or it's going to work. In this industry, in this business, it's even tougher because not everyone has a pet. So I can throw a flyer out there to 1,000 people, maybe only 500 of them maybe have a pet, and then out of them, there's only a small percentage of those that are even it's going to resonate with. So you have to do it because you've got to get your name out there. You've got to do as much as you can to brand. And be relevant. It's all about being relevant. So you got to put your brand, yourself, your business in front of as many people as possible constantly.
Okay. So this says this may seem like a hard question, but as an entrepreneur, and I know this from my personal experience working with you, you have new ideas constantly coming to mind on how to grow the business. How do you know which ideas to go with? Is it just trial and error?
A lot of it is trial and error. Obviously you don't want to overextend yourself and put too much money and invest in something that you're not 100% certain on. But, for as many successes, I'm sure we've had just as many or as close as many failures. And
right.
you've got to persevere. You've got to be consistent.
Right. Was it something you struggled with at first?
No, because I truly I believe in everything that I've done, and when you believe in something and you got your heart in it, you'll see it through. And it's about just having the right mindset, being positive and following up with that. And, typically things, they work themselves out.
For sure. So this is like a big part of this project. So we're trying to figure out how small businesses compete with big e-commerce, businesses like Chewy and things like that.
Sure.
How have you, because you're obviously growing your business in times like this with all this competition, how have you managed to flourish while competing with these businesses?
So right now, 2021, this is it's always been a challenge, but this is the greatest challenge for me right now because last year with COVID, it's my belief, and I think it's apparent in the numbers, it was just the shot in the arm that for brick and mortar retailers like myself, that online retailers just didn't need. They were already growing astronomically sales-wise, and when people were forced in a way to stay home, they turned themselves in front of their computers and they started ordering more and more things online. Now, in this industry, in our business, our saving grace was that COVID also created so many people having more animals in their home, or getting a new pet for the first time.
For sure.
So that was I guess you can call it a little bit of a trade-off. Because there's been this huge propensity of people that are shopping online, but also a ton of people have gotten a new pet. So that's given us a good balance. But I'll tell you, I now offer, online selling. We do, you can do online orders. We do local delivery and curbside. We're doing everything we can to try our best to compete in the market. But it's been difficult. Majority of people that have taken advantage of the delivery and the curbside have been our customers already.
Gotcha.
I'm having a really hard time trying to capture those Chewy.com customers.
How has that been transitioning to that? It's been hard.
Yeah, I mean, we were forced to immediately. Like, I was super excited over a year ago before COVID hit to be the first in the market to offer local delivery and online as far as pet supplies go.
Yeah.
And then, we were a month out and then COVID hits and then everybody and their brother starts doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So, like,
for sure.
that was a bummer. But, we just, we were able to adapt on the fly. I mean, it was difficult with less employees, but we found what made it easier. We found a company that had the infrastructure already created for pet supply retailers that had a library of inventory, products, images, and information. And we just adopted that and added that to our website.
Okay. So this says, what does family-owned small business bring that large e-commerce sites do not?
So, we're a local business that I truly believe do things the way a local business should, in that we are not only invested within our stores, but we're invested in the communities that we're in. We do a ton of outside events outside that benefit both pets and people. We're giving back a ton to local schools of our time and, monetarily and, donations, local charities, local events, churches, synagogues, whatever it may be. We're kind of boots on the ground, in doing those things. And the big guys they can't bend and flex like we can,
right.
And we're also, like we had talked about, we're supporting, local companies, local groups and local individuals. We're hiring local people to work here. So as they've said, it's 60 to 70% of your money, if you shop local, stays local. And I think we're a testament to that.
Okay. So, what advice could you give to somebody who's struggling to compete with big e-commerce sites and things like that?
I would say to do your best just to maintain your confidence. Don't let it get you down. You've got to be consistent, and you've got to be really adamant about I guess following through on everything that you do. Reach out and get involved with as many people locally as you can, with as many groups, with many other complementary businesses, doing your best to kind of just get your name out there and get your foot in the door with as many people in the community as you can. And try your best to just convey the message, that you are local and that you are family owned, and that, people supporting you makes a difference, but you got to show them that in turn that you're going to be, doing your part to give back as well.
Okay. So how are small businesses important as members of the community? Like we're doing with studying business history, that's one thing we're trying to figure out is how have small businesses been, integral parts of the community over the years?
I think this in general, I think it's just a matter of a community involvement. I think that it's what it comes down to. That's the biggest thing. Creating experiences. I think that, is one of the things that, keeps people coming back. It's the experiences that you can't have online. Like, we have the services like a do-it-yourself dog wash. Mm-hmm. We'll throw Halloween parties, pictures with Santa, things like that are the things that just are good for everyone's general morale in a community, and it brings people together. And that's not something that, these online retailers can do.
Right. So would you say, community involvement is an important part of business growth for you?
Absolutely. 100%. It always has been from the beginning.
Okay. So you have expanded with 10 locations now, right?
Soon to be 10 with Detroit opening, yes.
So obviously you're well known in this area. How do you bring your, the Premier Pet Supply presence? How do you accumulate those customers in the new area?
It's a good question. So I think what we've done even from the beginnings, before we had even our second location, 6 years ago, is we got our name out there in as many communities as possible. We also started doing, more major advertising like radio while we still had one location, so that we set ourselves up to have a great reputation, and we did a good job of being consistent with our brand and getting it out there and in front of many people as possible. So my thought was that when we open a new location in a new neighborhood, it wouldn't be I wonder who these guys are. It's, hey, we got a Premier Pet Supply opening in our neighborhood, so people get excited now. And so as we've grown, that's gotten easier because our reach has grown as well. But we thought big before we really were, and I think that's what created that. I think just the general thought of the Premier Pet Supply brand is that it just was one that people, I would hope at least, a majority of people held in high regard and were excited when they saw a new location closer to where they live.
Okay. So also you think a lot of it is like the customers that were shopping here before too that live in those areas kind of help spread it word of mouth?
Yeah, and what I didn't recognize until we opened our second location is how great our reach was. Our location, our second was Rochester Hills, which is a solid half-hour drive from here. When we had first opened, I couldn't tell you 8 out of 10 new customers, because of course they're the people that were most familiar with us. 8 out of 10 customers that would walk in the door would tell me, "I'm so happy I don't have to drive a half hour to your store now." And I couldn't believe that. It was it was really it was humbling. It was a really nice feeling. But I also wondered if it was the right move, because maybe we were just fine with just the one location. But obviously, we learned quickly that we can be successful in other spots.
For sure. So, unfortunately, the brick and mortar business is not really a dream for many younger people. What advice would you give to any young person trying to start a business like this?
It's I'd like to say it's tougher than what it was in the past, but it's always been tough. It's always been a challenge. But in any challenging time, there's always opportunity. What I would say is, if there's a business that you're really interested in, learn it from the inside out. Get a job doing exactly it. Maybe working for someone else. Learn the business as much as you can. Start at the bottom and work your way up. And then really that way it'll give you understanding of what it entails and what it takes to actually own and run your own business. But it'll also give you an idea and understanding if it's going to be worthwhile as well, depending on what industry you plan on going in. But there is a flip side to social media and online, is that you can market your business to the world instantaneously, as opposed to when we had started and we were just marketing our business to a 3 to 5 mile radius. So there's always going to be opportunity depending on what you get into.
Okay. When you first started out, how did you market the most? Did you just mail out flyers?
It was usually just mail flyers in the mail. Yellow Pages ads. I remember doing those. A long time ago, and generally, a lot of it was starting to just work events, just the grassroots type marketing. Yeah. Passing out flyers.
Okay. Did you guys do like the putting them under people's windshields and stuff like that?
We didn't go. We thought about it. We didn't get it as far as that. But I reached out also to complementary businesses. Dog trainers, groomers, veterinarians, and just and did my best to just tell them who we were and what we were all about, and that we wanted to help them grow their business as well through our customer base, and the hope would be that they would reciprocate through theirs. Okay. And we did a lot of networking that way.
All right. Great. Well, that is actually all the questions. All right.
What I was going to say is that just to put things in perspective, like, the online retailers like Chewy.com, it's like 4 or 5 years ago, they were doing $800 million in revenue. Last year, they surpassed $7 billion in revenue. That was in 2020, which is insane. Yeah. So they're growing, like I said, just at a huge clip. So we really, we've got to figure out how we can combat that. And the only thing that I can think of is truly just trying to get people to recognize that, we're the local guy that can be just as competitive price-wise. We can provide the same convenience. The hope is that we can at least gain or capture some of that, because so many people are going towards the online. And I get it. It's easy. It's convenient. But we've had to conform and do those same things. It's one of those things someone asked me even 2 years ago. They said, "Who's your biggest competitor?" And I said, I don't believe that it's any one entity. I truly believe it's the online retailers. Yeah.
How do online retailers like that? Some of that stuff I see them sell is ridiculously cheap. I remember like working here, some people want me to price match an item that there's no way I could have done that, and I would see that a lot. Like how do those big companies get to do that?
So on a smaller scale, I've recognized when those Fresh Time markets first opened. Yeah. First few weeks I went in there, their prices were incredibly low. It made no sense to me in comparison to other markets. And then what happened is they captured the business, and they got people coming in regularly, and then slowly but surely they started to raise their prices. So it's the same thing that Amazon's done. It's the same thing that Chewy.com has done. They literally work at a loss or on a loss. They had their first profitable quarter just this last quarter, and they've been in business for years. So it's all about gaining the subscriptions, gaining the market share, and then once they get you locked in, gradually their prices are going to inch up, and then they become profitable. And that's what they're doing. So in the beginning, they were truly operating at a loss, and I believe that's the same thing Amazon was doing for many years.
Interesting.
Which made us look bad, of course, right?
Right. What do you say to customers? Do you tell them that?
I'm always very transparent, very honest, and I'll tell people, I say, you know what, our cost is actually, higher than what you're paying online for that product. I'll work with you. We'll do what we can. If you can just understand that this is not something that is easy for us to combat. We've got the overhead of our business and here in the community. We've got the employees. We have expenses that some of the online retailers just didn't have. It was easy. They just have to host a product on the site, and then the manufacturer sends it out for them. They didn't even have, in the beginning, they didn't have to do much other than that, and that's simple.
Right. Okay. Cool. Well, I guess that conducts this interview. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean,
besides that last bit.
I think that would be it. I think.
All right.
That's
Awesome.
It. Thanks, man.
Yep. What's happening here?